Warm welcome to your own YouTube channel. We call it as Exam Norm. So I welcome you all in the next session of Finance Norm, which is a finance current affairs series, which is really very helpful for all your upcoming regulatory bodies exams, whether it is SEBI Grade A, PFRDA Grade A, IFSCA Grade A, or RBI Grade B, as well as Grade A examination, which is going to happen in near future. Along with that, if you're preparing for bank exams these days, IBPS as well as SBI examinations, especially the PO exams, they are asking many questions related to they're asking to happen in near future. Many questions related to RBI circulars, SEBI circulars, and this session is a must-watch session because we cover all the important circulars of all the important regulatory bodies. So before I start, may I have a reply in the comment section that I'm audible, visible, everything is fine, we are good to go, so that we can begin the discussion. Give me a thumbs up if I'm audible, visible, all good. If we are set to start with the discussion, just give me a thumbs up. I know many of you are busy with your SBIPO prelims, which is happening today as well as it will be happening tomorrow. In total 6 shifts, this examination is going to be conducted and most of you must be busy with that, but no worries, you can watch this session later on, and if you're watching it later on the recorded format, if you find any difficulty, if you have any doubt, you can write down the doubt in the comment section and I will be taking them for sure. Theek, done. If we are good to go, just give me yes sir. If you haven't shared the link of this session with your friends, I would request you quickly share the link of this session with your friends so that more and more students they can join us live. Okay, I guess good to go. Chalo. So the first news which I have for you all is very important and it's a very logical news which can be asked in the upcoming examination. The news is basically related to foreign direct investment. If you remember, in the previous class, we have discussed the latest draft which was introduced with respect to Foreign Exchange Management Act and RBI roles and responsibilities, where it has been clearly defined, or I would say the FDI is very clearly defined in that particular draft. It says FDI basically means when an investment in a company is done and the investment is done greater than 10% of the company's shareholding, and in that particular case this investment is not only done for earning the profit, it is also done with the motive of holding the management, carrying forward the operations, and then obviously earning the profit and enjoying the profit as per your investment, as per your shareholding. Now in India, FDI is not restricted, not prohibited, but it is not even free, it is regulated. What I mean with the word regulated, so regulated basically means that FDI is not open in India. That means you can invest as your will. That is not allowed in all cases. Rather, in India, we have two routes. One, we call it as automatic route. In case of automatic route, if a foreign company or a foreign investor which fulfills the conditions, the criterias, then they can come and invest in India, and after making the investment, they can inform RBI as well as the other relevant departments that hello, I'm in India, I have done the investment and I'm running my business. I have done it through automatic route. I hope you will not mind. But on the other side, there is another route which is called as government route. And in case of government route, you need to seek the prior government permission, and until unless you receive the government permission, you are not allowed to invest or you're not allowed to initiate the operations. Everything is taken care under DPIIT, that is Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Remember one thing, for one single sector, both the routes can be utilized. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि मान लो एक सेक्टर है, लेट्स से आई एम जस्ट टेकिंग एन एग्जांपल, सेक्टर इज एक्स. अब उस एक्स सेक्टर में जो एफडीआई अलाउड है, सर ओवरऑल एफडीआई लेट्स से अलाउड है अप टू 76% और मे बी चलो 74%. And out of this 74%, it says up to 50% is allowed through government route, is allowed through automatic route. And if you want to go above it, that is up to 74%, then you need to follow government route. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि सर अगर आप एक एक्स सेक्टर में किसी कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं और अगर आप उस कंपनी में 50% तक का इन्वेस्टमेंट कर रहे हैं, दैट कैन बी डन थ्रू ऑटोमेटिक रूट. But if you want to invest more than that, in that particular case, you need government approval. So it can be in this manner. And the another manner is in case of A, sector A, foreign investment can be done through automatic route up to a limit, as I said. Then above that limit, we need government approvals. But for example, we have a sector B where you cannot even invest a single penny without government approval or without government confirmation. So these are the different we can say formats. These are the very different routes through which the foreign investment can be done in India. आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक ऑफ डिस्कशन है, दैट इज बेसिकली रिलेटेड टू मार्केट प्लेस. वी कॉल इट एज ई मार्केट प्लेस. नाउ द क्वेश्चन इज सर, सबसे पहला जो पॉइंट ऑफ डिस्कशन है जहां से हम आज के सेशन की शुरुआत करेंगे, दैट इज इंट्रोडक्शन. That is introduction to the term that is e-marketplace. We will be discussing its models, and after understanding its models, then only we will be in a position to understand that what actually the news is, what is the importance of this particular news. So in order to understand the importance of this particular news, one second. Hanji. In order to understand the importance of this particular news, we need to understand the entire format in much detail. We want to understand the entire format in much detail. So I guess you guys are ready. So let's get started with this. Here we go. I'll just remove my image so that I can utilize the entire screen for the explanation wala part. Stay with me for next few minutes और उसके बाद आपको पता चलेगा कि how these Amazon, Flipkart, they are working, what is their source of profit, how they are operating in the country. Everything will be clear to you. So I'll start my discussion. With the term e-marketplace. E-marketplace. जिसको पता है बहुत बढ़िया, जिसको नहीं पता वो सुन ले, और जिसको पता है मैं बता दूं पहले कि आपको बहुत सारी चीजें नहीं मिलने वाली है. इट इज ऑल्सो नोन एज ई-कॉमर्स मार्केटप्लेस. हम हमेशा कहते हैं कि Amazon, Flipkart, these are the e-commerce companies which are operating in the country. So basically, what is this e-commerce marketplace? Sir, it is basically an online digital platform. And what is the role of this particular platform? So the role of this particular platform is it connects buyer with the sellers. Please pay attention. It connects buyers with the sellers, which means if you are purchasing any product on Amazon, it is not actually sold by Amazon, rather it is sold by the one who has registered itself as a seller on Amazon, and Amazon is providing it as a platform where the buyers can reach to the seller and purchase the product. So this platform is basically known as e-marketplace, e-commerce marketplace, where it allows purchase and sale of goods as well as services. Now you can think this e-commerce marketplace as digital shopping mall. You can take it as digital shopping mall. Whenever you go in a shopping mall, the shopping mall is constructed by a real estate developer, for example DLF. So DLF has constructed the mall, but in the mall, the sellers, they either purchase or take the stores on rent, and then they sell their products to the customers. So basically, DLF act as what? Sir, it act as a mediator, it act as a platform which connects buyer to the seller. That is how we can define it. So in this case, we say marketplace owner, that is DLF, only provides the platform. We have multiple independent sellers and we have customers who compare and purchase the products. Now the marketplace, they earns commission or service fee. So marketplace, they earn commission on maybe every sale, or they may even earn service fee. Service fees का मतलब कि भैया if you want your business to be registered on Amazon, you have to pay this much amount to Amazon on monthly basis, let's say. So that is service fee. In a similar manner, DLF, it is either selling these shops or giving it on rent, which is a profit earning for them. And even for their day-to-day services, for their day-to-day maintenance, they charge the service charges as well. They charge the maintenance charges as well, which is a kind of profit for the real estate creator, for the DLF in our example. So unlike traditional retailers, a marketplace may or may not own the product being sold. तो ये जरूरी नहीं है कि Amazon का जो सेलर है या अमेजॉन पे जो प्रोडक्ट बिक रहा है दैट प्रोडक्ट इज ओन्ड बाय अमेजॉन. दैट इज नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट और दैट इज नॉट ऑलवेज द केस. इट कैन बी, इट कैन नॉट बी. इट कैन बी, इट कैन नॉट बी. आई गेस इट इज क्लियर, है ना? If it is clear, now I have the next point. The next point is we have two models. We have two models of e-commerce. We have two models of e-commerce. The first model we have is marketplace model. The first model we have is marketplace model, and the second model we have is inventory based model. We have the inventory based model. Now the question is, so what is the difference between the two? If I say the marketplace model, so marketplace model is an e-commerce which act as a platform. It is purely a platform where no product is owned by the marketplace. Seller comes up, offer the product, buyer sees the product and purchase it. Platform has no ownership, no hold on the inventory, no hold on the goods which are being sold. So it does not own any kind of good. So it provides digital platform, product listing, payment processing, logistic, marketing, customer support, and many more things. For example, we have Amazon, Flipkart. So Amazon, Flipkart, they list the product of the seller and customer places the order. Seller ships the product and it reaches to the buyer, and the funds are paid through the Flipkart platform or Amazon platform, where they deduct their commission and pass on the rest amount to the seller itself. Now, what are the source of commission, or I would say source of revenue? In case of marketplace, the source of revenues are first one is commission on sale. First one is commission on sale. Second one we have is advertising fees, which they charge on the brands which want to advertise themselves. Then logistic charges. If you know, Flipkart, Amazon, they have their own logistic companies. And then we have seller subscription. For example, Amazon, it offers a subscription, and through that particular subscription, you can purchase the product and enjoy extra benefits on the same. On the other side, if I talk about the inventory based, the inventory based model basically means when the platform is provided, along with platform, this platform owner is the seller of goods as well. Not all the goods, maybe few of the goods or some of the goods, or maybe all of the goods. So seller of goods, and then it is sold to the customer. For example, I don't know how many of you have heard about lifestyle. I don't know how many of you have heard about Shoppers Stop. Maybe you must have heard about Capson. So what are these? So these are the multi-brand stores. So if they are offering their platform, digital platform, where they are not only allowing the customers to purchase the products of different brands, but actually those goods, those products are owned by the same platform. They are themselves holding the inventory. उनका अपना एक वेयर हाउस है, उस वेयर हाउस में वो सारे प्रोडक्ट्स पड़े हैं. द मोमेंट यू विल प्लेस द ऑर्डर, द प्रोडक्ट विल बी शिफ्ट. The product will be shipped from the inventory from the warehouse of the platform owner only. So it act as a regular retailer. ये तो वही बात है, मेरे घर के पास जो एक ग्रोसरी स्टोर है, उसके पास भी तो सारा प्रोडक्ट अपने पास ही स्टोर पड़ा है, और मैं मांगने जाता हूँ तो मुझे वो देता अपनी पॉकेट से निकाल के, अपने वेयर हाउस से निकाल के, बिल्कुल वैसे ही जब वो चीज डिजिटली हो रही हो, वी कॉल इट एज इन्वेंट्री बेस्ड मॉडल, वी कॉल इट एज इन्वेंट्री बेस्ड मॉडल। ठीक है जी। अब पॉइंट ये आता है, कि सर ये न्यूज क्या कहती है। इफ आई टॉक अबाउट दिस पर्टिकुलर न्यूज, what does this news basically talks about? So this news basically talks about the FDI limits with respect to these e-marketplaces only. FDI limits with respect to these e-marketplaces only. And what are these FDI limits? How these FDI limits have been introduced? What is the logic? We will be discussing every point. We will be discussing every point. Just give me a second. यहां तक समझ आया? I hope the things are clear till now. Any doubt, guys, till this point? ठीक है. If you have no doubt, then I will be moving ahead, and now I will be talking about the next part, that is FDI. तो अगर मैं FDI की बात करूं with respect to this marketplace, तो FDI की जो कहानी है with respect to this marketplace, it has started back in 2000. तो अगर मैं बात करूं back in 2000, what was happened? So back in 2000, FDI was allowed in B2B e-commerce. B2B का मतलब business to business e-commerce. For example, I start a new business where I'm listing these, for example, these pen tabs, which I used to write on the screen. So I started a marketplace where I am listing the products and I'm selling these products not to the customers, rather to the coaching institutes, rather to these edtech firms or the edtech giants which are operating in the country, that I will be selling 10, 100,000 pen tablets in one go, and I will be charging so and so value. Especially if I'd say India Mart, it is some of the same place where B2B, business to business e-commerce, business to business sale of goods is done. So in 2000, government allowed FDI, that was 100%. तो पहले गवर्नमेंट ने इस पे अलाउ किया 100% FDI, and that too through automatic route. ठीक है जी. अब ये चलता गया. Things were very good because at that time India's retail sector consisted mainly of millions of small shops. So the government wanted foreign investment in logistic as well as technology, better supply chains for businesses, modern wholesale market for that particular place. Government has done this, but it was not allowed for business to customer models. It was not allowed for business to customer model. What was not allowed? Sir, FDI was not allowed. FDI was not allowed. On the other side, if I move on to the next point, sir, Amazon was, in this example, Amazon is selling the mobile phones, and these mobile phones are directly sold out to Reliance Digital only. अब ये मत कहना 2000 में तो Reliance Digital नहीं था. No, I'm just giving you an example. This is what we call it as business to business sale. फिर उसके बाद चीजें चेंज हुई सर in 2016. In 2016, there was an introduction of marketplace and inventory models. So marketplace, as I told you, inventory model, as I told you, तो अब जाकर कुछ differences लाए गए. तो वो differences क्या थे सर? differences ये थे कि अगर हम marketplace की बात करें, in case of marketplace, which are just providing the platform for performing the, or for helping the sellers to meet the buyers, in that case, for the marketplace, FDI was 100% allowed. FDI was 100% allowed. But in case of inventory model, FDI was prohibited. Why FDI was prohibited? क्योंकि RBI को पता, गवर्नमेंट को पता था कि अगर ये बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज इंडिया में आ गई और इन्होंने इन्वेंट्री भी होल्ड करनी शुरू कर दी, इन्होंने अपने गुड्स को होल्ड करना शुरू कर दिया, दे विल ईट अप आवर लोकल मार्केट्स, दे विल ईट अप आवर स्मॉल सेलर्स, दे विल ईट अप दी मिडिल एंड लो मिडिल क्लास ऑफ द कंट्री, तो उन्होंने प्रोहिबिट किया. दिस वाज डन इन 2016. ठीक है. फिर 2018 में थिंग्स वर डिफरेंट. इन 2018 एफडीआई टारगेट्स, or I would say tightening of FDI was done. So what was the problem? So the problem was some of the companies, problem समझना पहले कि क्या हुआ. प्रॉब्लम ये थी सर, बहुत सारी कंपनीज थी जिन्होंने क्या किया कि वो इन्वेंट्री बेस्ड नहीं है, दे आर नॉन इन्वेंट्री बेस्ड मार्केट प्लेस है. बट व्हाट दे हैव स्टार्टेड डूइंग इज दे हैव स्टार्टेड फिक्सिंग दी सेलर्स. उन्होंने सेलर्स को फिक्स कर दिया, और सेलर को फिक्स ही नहीं किया बल्कि उस सेलर में इन्वेस्टमेंट भी कर दी. मतलब क्या हुआ? मतलब ये हुआ कि मैंने एक मार्केट प्लेस बनाई, उस मार्केट प्लेस पे आई allowed earlier the sellers and buyers to meet and make the transactions. Later on, I introduced my own sellers, and after introducing my own sellers, I invested a lot in my own sellers, and then I allowed my own sellers to sell the product. So indirectly, the marketplace owner or the marketplace company is the inventory holder. ये point समझ आ रहा है? It is the inventory holder. Say yes or no. ये पॉइंट समझ आया या नहीं? मैं आपको ये कहूंगी सर फ्लिपकार्ट है. अब फ्लिपकार्ट क्या करता है सर? फ्लिपकार्ट सभी को अलाउ करता है टू ऑपरेट, एंड फ्लिपकार्ट इज नॉट होल्डिंग एनी काइंड ऑफ इन्वेंट्री. बट फ्लिपकार्ट को समझ आया कि इंडिया में आईफोन्स की बहुत ज्यादा सेल है, और फ्लिपकार्ट रन करता है एंड अ सेल, आई डोंट नो वेदर यू आर अवेयर ऑफ दैट सेल और नॉट, वी कॉल इट एज बिग बिलियन डेज. अब उन बिग बिलियन डेज में जितना भी एप्पल के प्रोडक्ट्स सेल किए जाते हैं, दे आर सोल्ड आउट ओनली बाय द वन सेलर, एंड दैट वन सेलर is the seller in which the investment is done by FDI only. So basically in which the investment is done by the Flipkart only. So basically Flipkart has become the seller as well, and by becoming the seller as well, Flipkart is becoming the inventory holder as well. तो जब गवर्नमेंट को लगा कि ये प्रॉब्लम है, that marketplace, they create a preferred seller, then they invest in that seller, and most products are sold through that seller only. So inventory effectively belongs to the marketplace. तो इसके against government ने क्या response दिया? Government says that if the marketplace owns or control inventory, it will be treated as inventory based model. तो उन्होंने कह दिया कि अगर कोई marketplace है, but if it is indirectly controlling the inventory, then they will be included in the other category, that is inventory model. Then they will be included in the other category, that is inventory model, और उस केस में FDI will be prohibited. तो ये एक बेसिक अनाउंसमेंट की गई थी 2018 में. इतना ही नहीं, इसके बाद भी गवर्नमेंट का मन नहीं भरा, तो अब गवर्नमेंट 2016 में फिर से न्यूज में आई है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द सेम एरिया. अब जो न्यूज है 2026 के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में वो क्या है सर? इन 2026 गवर्नमेंट हैज कम अप विद अ broad announcement, and this announcement is basically done to liberalize the exports of the country. So I call it as limited liberalization of exports. अब ये limited liberalization of exports का क्या मतलब है? तो limited liberalization of exports का मतलब है कि बिल्कुल सिंपल भाषा में अगर मैं कहूं तो इसका मतलब ये है कि सर if government has allowed FDI in inventory based models, but there is a condition. That FDI is allowed in inventory based e-commerce entities, that will be allowed, but there is a condition. The condition is only for exports of goods manufactured in India. ये पॉइंट समझना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. व्हाट डज दिस पॉइंट सेज? It says that till 2026, FDI in inventory-based e-commerce model was prohibited, but now FDI is allowed, and that too up to 100% is allowed. That is 100% FDI is allowed in the inventory based model, but only if the inventory which is maintained, it consists of made in India goods, and secondly, this inventory will only and only be exported, it won't be sold out in India. For example, I've started a company where I'm giving a marketplace where the seller can sell, buyers can buy, but buyers are only outside Indian buyers. That means rest of the world can be buyer, and here the seller can be obviously Indians. Along with that, this X, the platform owner, can also be a seller, can also be a seller, can also hold the inventory. And if they are running this kind of business where the sale is always done outside India, then we call it as a model which allows, or which attracts, or which is allowed to be accepting foreign direct investment, and that too up to 100%. And that too up to 100%. But reason, बस condition यही है कि सर जो goods हैं, that should be made in India. Goods should be made in India. And second condition is seller should be outside India. That means goods should always and always be exported. Goods should always and always be exported. But if you are running an inventory based B2C e-commerce, and in that case you cannot sell the same goods in India, and if you're selling the same goods in India, then FDI is not allowed. If you're selling the same goods in India, then FDI will be not allowed. बोलो क्लियर हो गई बात? ये चेंज जो है ये समझ आया? FDI अलाउड है इन्वेंट्री बेस्ड मॉडल में? यस. 100% अलाउड है? यस. हर एक केस में अलाउड है? नो. इट इज अलाउड ओनली specific condition. Specific condition is only in those companies which hold the inventory for export purpose, and all the goods are made in India goods. All the goods are manufactured and produced in India. बोलो क्लियर है? बोलो क्लियर है? If it is clear, give me yes sir. Done? Shall I move ahead? Done? Shall I move ahead? चलो अब पढ़ते हैं. ये जो सारी चीजें मैंने आपको बताई एक बार जल्दी से इसे पढ़ के खत्म कर लेते हैं, न्यूज खत्म हो जाएगी. सर, द डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ प्रमोशन ऑफ इंडस्ट्री एंड इंटरनल ट्रेड हैज अलाउड FDI in inventory based e-commerce entities exclusively for export of goods. Exclusively for export of goods, or those goods which are manufactured in India. This marks limited liberalization of India's FDI policy, while foreign funded e-commerce companies can own inventory for export purposes only. The prohibition on inventory based e-commerce for domestic retail sales remains unchanged. That means in that case, you're not allowed to witness investment or foreign direct investment in your company. The objective is basically to promote exports, support Indian manufacturers and MSMEs, and improve access to the global market without altering the existing safeguards of the domestic retailers. तो domestic retailers आज भी वैसे ही हैं, लेकिन एक्सपोर्ट मार्केट में या ग्लोबल मार्केट में हमारा जो इम्पैक्ट है वो बढ़ जाएगा एज अ कंट्री आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट. ठीक है जी. अब इसके बाद अगर हम बात करें तो यही जो पूरी स्टोरी मैंने आपको सुनाई है, तो 2000 में 100% B2B. 2016 it classified into two categories. 100% was allowed through automatic route under the marketplace model where the platform only connects buyer and seller. FDI was prohibited, मतलब zero in inventory based model, as companies owning the inventory and selling directly to the customer where it is treated as multi brand retailers. तो यहाँ पे जो आपको FDI की लिमिट्स मिलेंगी, that will be equivalent to multi brand retailers. Now I need a answer after this class. What is the FDI limit in case of multi brand retailers? You should give me the answer in the comment section after the class is complete. 2018 में गवर्नमेंट ने कहा भैया इसे देखना पड़ेगा. बहुत सारी कंपनीज है विच आर शोइंग देमसेल्फ एज मार्केट प्लेस बट दे आर एक्चुअली इन्वेंट्री बेस्ड. और 2026 में RBI ने, गवर्नमेंट ने कहा कि ओके वी अलाउ FDI in those e-commerce inventory based e-commerce entities which exclusively hold goods manufactured in India for the purpose of export. They won't be selling those goods in India. They won't be impacting the local sellers of the country. They won't be impacting the local traders of the country because they won't be allowed to participate in the domestic market. ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गई बात, समझ आ गई? इफ इट इज क्लियर जस्ट गिव मी यस सर सो दैट वी कैन कंक्लूड द डिस्कशन. एक बार सोच लो, बता दो, अगर क्लियर है तो जस्ट गिव मी यस सर सो दैट वी कैन मूव अहेड. अगली न्यूज काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है और काफी अच्छी है, काफी आसान भी है. द नेक्स्ट न्यूज आई हैव इज रिपोर्ट पब्लिश्ड बाय सेबी रिसेंटली, और उससे रिलेटेड 2-3 पॉइंट्स हैं, बस उतना ही पढ़ेंगे और उतना पढ़ के आगे निकल जाएंगे. डन है जी, आगे बढ़े, चलो. Here we go with the next news. Next news says, SEBI कह रहा हूँ, SBI report credit deposit gap due to geopolitical uncertainties. मतलब क्या हुआ? If you remember in the yesterday's paid session, I talked about it. So on one side, a bank is responsible for providing the credit, and on the other side, bank is generating this credit through deposits. लेकिन आज की डेट में मार्केट काफी ज्यादा अनसर्टेन है, and if the market is uncertain, some of the investors, that they are not even trusting the banks, that whether bank will be able to stand strong in these tough situations, and the other individuals, they feel rather than making the deposit, you should invest their funds where the return possibility is much higher in comparison to the rate of interest what they are earning by keeping the deposits with the bank. So SBI economic research report states that credit deposit gap is currently at 530 basis point. Credit deposit gap is currently at 530 basis point, which is likely to remain high if geopolitical tensions and external supply side shocks continue, as bank credit is increasing faster because everybody is looking for loan for investment, but deposits during the period of uncertainty is falling down. But the deposits are falling down. So report identifies that crude oil price shock as primary driver of high credit growth, because rising oil price increasing working capital needs of the businesses, and they need those funds, so they are not depositing it with the bank. In contrast, food inflation affects deposit growth over a long period by reducing household saving and slowing deposit mobilization. और दूसरी तरफ भैया फूड इन्फ्लेशन ज्यादा है तो आपके खर्चे ज्यादा है तो आपकी सेविंग्स कम है. To address funding pressure, the report expects फॉरेन करेंसी नॉन रेजिडेंट डिपॉजिट इनफ्लोज टू इंप्रूव. आई होप यू रिमेंबर, ये हमने पढ़ा था कुछ दिन पहले इसी क्लास में. फॉरेन करेंसी नॉन रेजिडेंट deposits, matlab these are those deposit accounts which offer term deposit facility to the foreigners residing outside India to open up a term deposit account in India with a minimum maturity of 1 year and maximum 5 years. And here the investment or the deposit can be done in 6 currencies. One is US dollar, sterling pound, euro, Japanese yen, Australian dollar, as well as Canadian dollar. Okay? So it also recommended that banks strengthen liquidity management, diversify funding sources, and maintain adequate liquidity buffers during the period of global uncertainty. यहाँ तक अभी तक जो सबसे important है, that is this gap value, and कौन सा gap? Credit to deposit gap of the bank. The report has also highlighted 3 structural changes, very important, in deposit behavioral since the pandemic. Deposit growth is shifting towards semi-urban and rural areas, because the urban areas and metro areas, they are either investing in real estate or they are investing in the stock market. Customers are increasing their preference towards term deposit because they know rate of interest is higher on term deposit. Let's go for it. And the share of 1 to 3 year maturity deposit has increased, improving the stability of the bank's funding profile. तो अब जो बैंक के पास डिपॉजिट है वो ज़्यादा डिपॉजिट लॉन्ग टर्म डिपॉजिट है, ज़्यादा डिपॉजिट टर्म डिपॉजिट है, रादर देन डिमांड डिपॉजिट जहाँ पे कभी भी विड्रॉल हो सकता है. लेकिन इन केस ऑफ टर्म डिपॉजिट देयर इज अ कंडीशन that withdrawal will be done after the given time, but yes, you can go for premature withdrawal, but 100% premature withdrawal नहीं होगा ना, हर कोई तो वापस लेने आएगा नहीं. तो बैंक के लिए वो डिपॉजिट क्या हो जाएंगे? स्टेबल हो जाएंगे. तो एक तरफ recurring account, fixed account, they are preferable for the banks because they are stable, but on the other side they are not preferable because they attract high rate of interest. They attract high rate of interest, but they are stable. On the other side, if I talk about current account, saving account, so they are volatile, आज डिपॉजिट कल विड्रॉल, बट उस पे जो इंटरेस्ट रेट है दैट इज नेग्लिजिबल, वेरी लो, स्पेशली इन केस ऑफ करंट अकाउंट इट इज जीरो। तो इन दोनों में से किसे चूज करें सर? किसी एक को तो चूज कर नहीं सकते, बट ज्यादातर बैंक चेक करता है कि राफा शुड बी मोर देन, सॉरी बैंक कोशिश ये करता है कि कासा शुड बी मोर देन राफा, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली आज की डेट में जो करंट सिनेरियो है, एक्चुअल सिनेरियो जो है दैट इज ऑपोजिट। पब्लिक इज प्रेफरिंग मोर ऑफ टर्म डिपॉजिट रादर देन डिमांड डिपॉजिट्स। ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गई बात, समझ आ गया? इतनी ही न्यूज है, वैसे तो बहुत बड़ी रिपोर्ट थी लेकिन मैंने इसे शॉर्ट डाउन कर लिया ताकि आपको समझ आ जाए। अब इस पे क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करते हैं। कंसिडर द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू एसबीआई इकोनॉमिक रिसर्च रिपोर्ट। क्रूड ऑयल प्राइस शॉक्स आर डोमिनेंट सोर्स ऑफ फ्लक्चुएशन इन बैंक्स क्रेडिट ग्रोथ। क्रूड ऑयल की वजह से बैंक की जो क्रेडिट ग्रोथ है उस पर चेंज हुआ है, बिल्कुल हुआ है। कैसे? तो क्रूड ऑयल के प्राइस बढ़े, मैं इंडस्ट्री रन कर रहा हूं, मेरा कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल इंक्रीज हुआ, मेरा रनिंग कॉस्ट इंक्रीज हुआ, मुझे जो करंट फॉर्मेट पे ऑपरेशनल कैपिटल चाहिए वो इंक्रीज होगा, जिसकी वजह से आई विल बी बोरोइंग मोर। फूड इन्फ्लेशन अफेक्ट डिपॉजिट ग्रोथ ग्रेजुअली बाय रिड्यूसिंग हाउस होल्ड सेविंग, करेक्ट। द रिपोर्ट स्टेट्स दैट जियोपॉलिटिकल टेंशन प्राइमरली रिड्यूस बैंक credit growth. No sir, it has primarily increased bank credit growth, but it has primarily decreased bank deposit growth. So answer to this particular question should be first and second statement are correct, so A option is the correct answer. अगला question आपकी स्क्रीन पे है, quickly take the screenshot, and I will be looking forward for the answers in the comment section. 1 2 3 4 and 5. I hope it's done. Moving on to the next news. The next news is related to UPI. We all know that UPI has changed the digital payment ecosystem in the country, but this digital payment ecosystem has changed because of its ease in terms of its operation. It's a real-time transaction, but there is a problem, or I would say there is one more reason because of which UPI has witnessed an immense growth. So that is all because of free of cost फंड ट्रांसफर अवेलेबिलिटी। फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट फंड ट्रांसफर अवेलेबिलिटी का मतलब एक सिंपल सा एग्जांपल सुनना। फॉर एग्जांपल गाइस, यू आर हैविंग एन अकाउंट इन फोन पे, ठीक है। सो विद द हेल्प ऑफ यूपीआई यू आर मेकिंग अ ट्रांजैक्शन थ्रू फोन पे। दिस फोन पे इज लिंक्ड विद सेंडर्स अकाउंट, then from the sender's account through PhonePe, through banks, through other intermediaries like National Financial Switch, these funds are transferred into the beneficiary's account. So actually PhonePe कुछ ज़्यादा काम नहीं कर रहा, जो ज़्यादा काम कर रहा है वो कौन कर रहा है? So that work is basically done by the banks, because bank is facilitating this fund transfer. This bank is basically facilitating this bank fund transfer. So in that particular case, bank is capable enough to charge charges on the services. Charges on the services. और सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात यह है कि जब ये चार्जेस ऑन दी सर्विसेज चार्ज की जाती हैं, वी कॉल दीज चार्जेस एज merchant discount rate, because these charges are not charged on the buyer, these charges are charged on the seller, because seller has tied up with the bank ना। इसको दूसरी तरह से देखो, मान लो आप एक शॉपकीपर के पास गए, उस शॉपकीपर ने आपने कहा कि आई वांट टू पे, he asks you cash or UPI, you said credit card, then he will pick up a machine which is provided to him by his bank, he will insert the card in that machine, your card information will be read by the machine, it will be transferred to the merchant's bank, merchant bank will transfer this information through the mediator to the beneficiary or to the customer's bank. So from the customer's bank funds will be debited, and then that debited fund will be credited into the seller's account, will be credited into the shopkeeper's account. तो सारे काम में काम कौन कर रहा है? बैंक कर रहा है। विच बैंक? मर्चेंट बैंक। तो मर्चेंट बैंक क्या करता है सर? इट चार्जेस, वी कॉल देम एज मर्चेंट डिस्काउंट रेट। इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? इसका मतलब ये है कि मान लो मर्चेंट डिस्काउंट रेट 2% है, तो अगर आपने 100 रुपए का प्रोडक्ट खरीदा तो उस पर 2 रुपए, जो 2% है, 2 रुपए that are the charges which are charged by the bank which is ought to be paid by the shopkeeper. अब सिंपल ऐसा शॉपकीपर अपनी पॉकेट से तो देगा नहीं, तो व्हाट विल शॉपकीपर डू? सो लेट्स सपोज द शॉपकीपर हैज डिसाइडेड the selling price as 100, but he knows if anybody will pay through card, he has to pay 2 rupees on that, so he will increase his selling price from 100 to 102, from 100 to 102. And technically when this term was introduced, it was expected that if anybody is paying in cash to the shopkeeper should be honest enough to give him 2 rupees discount, should be honest enough to give him 2 rupees of discount, and in cash he will be paying 100, but if he is paying through card he will be paying 102. तो ये जो 2 रुपए का डिस्काउंट देना बनता था seller ka to the customer if the customer is paying in cash, that is basically the charges which are charged by merchant bank, and those charges because of this discount are known as merchant discount rate. And on UPI these merchant discount rates are not zero, they are not zero, but on UPI these merchant discount rates are paid by government. तो गवर्नमेंट बेसिकली आपके बिहाफ पे आपके ट्रांजेक्शन्स के अगेंस्ट वो मर्चेंट डिस्काउंट रेट पे करती है टू द मीडिएटर्स, सो दैट यूपीआई इज प्रमोटेड, सो दैट यूपीआई इज यूटिलाइज्ड इन द इकोनॉमी. लेकिन अब गवर्नमेंट भी थक गई है, तो गवर्नमेंट ने अब सीधा बोल दिया कि भैया अगर ट्रांजेक्शन 2000 से ज्यादा होगी तो उस पे मर्चेंट डिस्काउंट रेट चार्ज होगा विच विल बी पेड बाय मर्चेंट. और वो मर्चेंट अपनी पॉकेट से देगा नहीं, तो मर्चेंट उसे कहां ट्रांसफर करेगा? सर इट विल बी ट्रांसफर्ड ऑन द नेम ऑफ, और इट विल बी ट्रांसफर्ड ऑन द पॉकेट ऑफ बायर. कितने चार्जेस होंगे, कब से इंप्लीमेंट होंगे, अभी वो बात बहुत क्लियरली नहीं आई है, लेकिन हाँ होगा, ये जरूर आ चुका है. सो इंडियाज डिजिटल इकोसिस्टम हैज विटनेस्ड 2 significant development. First is NPCI in developing the UPI and merchant discount rate on certain high UPI transactions, while one initiative focuses on expanding the reach of digital payment, another aims to ensure long-term sustainability of the payment ecosystem. The proposed offline UPI feature will allow customers to make payment without an internet, either on customer's smartphone or merchant's point of sale machine. तो आपके पास बिना इंटरनेट के भी अब पेमेंट करने की कैपेसिटी होगी थ्रू UPI. दैट हैज बीन अलाउड. दिस सिस्टम विल यूज नियर फील्ड कम्युनिकेशन टेक्नोलॉजी. मतलब क्या हुआ कि सर जैसे ही आप कस्टमर के पास गए, सॉरी आप दुकान में गए, मर्चेंट के पास गए, तो आपने देखा ना वो RF फास्टैग किस पे काम करता है? तो द मोमेंट यू रीच टू द गेट, ऑटोमेटिकली द गेट ओपन्स. एक्चुअली क्या है, जो फास्टैग इट वर्क्स ऑन रेडियो फ्रीक्वेंसी आइडेंटिफिकेशन डिवाइस. उसमें क्या है कि जो आपका कार्ड है जो आपकी स्क्रीन पे लगा विंड स्क्रीन पे, उसमें एक सर्किट है, और जैसे उस सर्किट पे रेडियो फ्रीक्वेंसी पड़ती है वो सर्किट चार्ज हो जाता है एंड इट रिमिट द इंफॉर्मेशन. दैट इंफॉर्मेशन इज रेड बाय द रिसीवर ऑन द टोल गेट, और वो रिसीव करके टोल ओपन कर देता है. बिल्कुल वैसे ही अब आप मर्चेंट के पास गए तो सेलर्स मर्चेंट को पे करेगा बाय शेयरिंग द इंफॉर्मेशन थ्रू दीज radio frequency identifications only, and in this case we will call it as near field communication, where no internet is required to complete the transaction. So initially offline transactions, they were capped at 2000 and the payment will be verified once the device reconnects to the internet. This feature is expected to make UPI usable in places such as aircraft, underground metro tunnels, remote areas, as well as the areas where internet connectivity is unavailable. आपने देखा होगा बहुत बार आप बेसमेंट में हैं, बहुत बार आपने देखा होगा आप बेसमेंट में हैं और वहां सिग्नल नहीं है और आप पेमेंट नहीं कर पा रहे, लेकिन अब आप कर पाएंगे. Alongside, government is evaluating a proposal where government is thinking of charging merchant discount rate up to 0.5% on UPI person to merchant. मतलब जब आप पे करोगे सेलर को, पर्सन टू मर्चेंट, बट इफ यू आर पेइंग from your account to your father's account, no charges. So person to merchant transactions above 2000, उस पे 0.5% तक का MDR लगाने की गवर्नमेंट सोच रही है. Small businesses with an annual turnover of up to 1.5 crore are likely to remain exempted. मतलब अगर मेरा बिजनेस है और मेरी टर्नओवर 1.5 करोड़ से कम है तो उस केस में मेरे ऊपर ये चार्जेस नहीं लगेंगे, बाकियों के ऊपर ये चार्जेस जरूर लगेंगे. Reintroducing MDR only for large high value transaction क्यों किया गया? सर, इट इज बेसिकली टू प्रोवाइड बैंक्स and payment service providers विद सस्टेनेबल रेवेन्यू सोर्सेस, कि भैया ऐसा ना हो कि बैंक के पास रेवेन्यू सोर्स ही नहीं हो रही, बैंक यूपीआई सपोर्ट ना करे, और जो आज जिसपे हमारा पूरा ये कहो कि जिसपे रिटेल पेमेंट्स हाईली डिपेंडेंट है, अगर वो रिटेल पेमेंट डिपेंडेंसी पूरी नहीं हो पाई, देन इट विल बी अ शॉक फॉर द इकोनॉमी। तो इसीलिए इसे अभी से धीरे धीरे सस्टेनेबल बनाने की जरूरत है। ठीक है जी, एमडीआर समझ आ गया। अगली बार कोई भी आपके सामने वर्ड एमडीआर देगा, मर्चेंट डिस्काउंट रेट, तो पता चल जाएगा क्या है। और अगर कोई पूछे इसे मर्चेंट डिस्काउंट रेट क्यों कहते हैं, तो बता देना कि आज तक किसी ने नहीं बताया इस यूट्यूब पे, लेकिन माधव सर ने बता दिया, इसीलिए इसे एमडीआर कहा जाता है, मर्चेंट डिस्काउंट रेट कहा जाता है। क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करते हैं। India is developing offline UPI tap and pay facility to enable digital payments even without internet connectivity. Offline UPI payment will require internet connectivity on merchants POS but not on customers phone. No sir, दोनों ही केसेस में required नहीं है। Offline UPI will use near field communication technology and will initially be limited to a transaction of 2000. बिल्कुल सही है। Offline UPI transactions can be performed only through QR code. No sir. The facility will be available only to person. No, it is available in all the aspects. Transactions will be settled only after the customer logs into the internet banking. No, transaction will be settled वाला पार्ट ही नहीं है, वहां पे टर्म जो थी वो ये थी कि सर अपडेट आपको मिलेगा कब, whenever you will be connected to the internet. Whenever you will be connected to the internet, then only you will get the update. So the payment will be verified once the device reconnects to the internet. Payment will be verified when the device connects to the internet. So उसके हिसाब से देखें तो एक ही स्टेटमेंट करेक्ट है, that is B option is the correct answer for the given one. अगला क्वेश्चन आपके लिए होमवर्क है. The next question is your homework. So kindly take the screenshot. I'll count till 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I guess you might have taken the screenshot. Now it's time to move on to the next news. The next news is related to NABARD, Rural Economic Condition and Settlement Survey. So NABARD, that is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, has released Rural Economic Conditions and Sentiment Survey in July 2026. The survey indicates that rural income growth has weakened significantly. तो सर्वे क्या कहता है कि सर ये जो रूरल इनकम है वो वीकन हुई है, उसके अलावा और बहुत सारे फीचर्स, बट बिफोर दैट रिमेंबर द नेम of the survey, remember the organization. It is done bi-monthly after 2 months. It was launched back in 2024, September 2024, and it is done in order to assess current economic conditions, future expectations of rural household by collecting information on their income, consumption, savings, borrowings, investment, employment, inflation perceptions and overall economic sentiments. तो क्या क्या डेटा देखा जाता है सर? उनकी इनकम, उनकी कंजम्पशन, सेविंग, बोरोइंग, इन्वेस्टमेंट, एम्प्लॉयमेंट, इन्फ्लेशन को लेकर उनका क्या थॉट है कि महंगाई बढ़ेगी या कम होगी, और ओवरऑल इकोनॉमिक सेंटीमेंट्स को लेकर उनका क्या विजन है, क्या थॉट है. तो इसमें जो पहला पॉइंट है दैट इज वीकेस्ट रूरल इनकम ग्रोथ सिंस सर्वे बिगिन इन सितंबर 2024. Only 27.7% of rural household reported an increase in income compared to the previous year. Rest they have witnessed either stable or reduced income. This is lowest proportion since it is launched in September 2024. Constant income रही है 52.4% हाउसहोल्ड की, और 19.8% हाउसहोल्ड की जो इनकम है that has declined. This is very important. Consumption growth, 71.4% of respondents reported an increase in household consumption expenditure. This is only the second time since the survey that proportion has fallen below 75%, indicating moderation in rural consumption demand. तो भैया लोग कह रहे हैं क्या होगा सर? टोटल में से 74% लोग कह रहे हैं कि सर हमारी जो कंजम्पशन है वो बढ़ी है इन कंपैरिजन टू प्रीवियस ईयर, जो कि एक लोवेस्ट काउंट है टिल डेट. 75% से नीचे सिर्फ दूसरी बार आया इन द पास्ट फ्यू ईयर्स. रूरल हाउसहोल्ड हैज शोन record high dependence on informal borrowing from sources such as money lenders, relatives, friends, because of documentations which need to be done in the banks. Second is this suggests increasing financial stress, कि भैया financial stress बढ़ रहा है, बैंक से ऑलरेडी एक लोन लिया दूसरा कैसा लेंगे, और limited access टू अफोर्डेबल इंस्टीट्यूशनल क्रेडिट। तो एक तरफ तो हो सकता है बैंक से ऑलरेडी लोन लिया और मिलेगा नहीं, दूसरा हो सकता है सर बैंक का एक्सेस ही नहीं है, बैंक तक पहुंच ही नहीं पा रहे हैं, तो ऑब्वियसली इनफॉर्मल लोन लेना पड़ेगा। सो दैट इज द अनदर कैटेगरी क्राइटेरिया। थर्ड इज फाइनेंशियल स्ट्रेस, slower income growth coupled with increasing consumption indicates that many households they are maintaining expenditure through savings or borrowings rather than higher earnings। भैया एक तरफ आपकी इनकम कम हो गई, दूसरी तरफ या ये कहो इनकम कम हुई 19.8% पॉपुलेशन की और 52% के अराउंड पॉपुलेशन की इनकम सेम है, लेकिन सबकी अगर कंजम्पशन बढ़ रही है तो इट्स डिफिकल्ट टू कंज्यूम विद द सेम और रिड्यूस्ड इनकम। तो उसके लिए आपको पैसा बोरो करना पड़ रहा है, विच इज नॉट गुड फॉर एन इकोनॉमी। दिस रिफ्लेक्ट्स ग्रोइंग प्रेशर ऑन रूरल हाउस होल्ड फाइनेंसेस, कि भैया जो रूरल हाउस होल्ड फाइनेंसेस है उन पे प्रेशर बढ़ता जा रहा है। ठीक है, तो ये कुछ पॉइंट्स हैं जो नाबार्ड की रिपोर्ट से हमारे लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो डेटाज मैंने सारे के सारे राउंड कर दिए, जो आपको याद करने हैं, जो पॉइंट्स याद करने, वैसे तो मैं उनको बोल्ड भी करके लाया था लेकिन मैंने मार्क भी कर दिया, आप एक बार देख लीजिएगा। क्वेश्चन देखते हैं। Consider the following statement with respect to NABARD's Rural Economic Condition and Sentiment Survey. It was launched in September 2024. Correct. It is conducted every 2 months. The survey captures information on income, consumption, saving, borrowing, employment, inflation perception, as well as economic sentiments. So answer क्या बनेगा? So 1 and 3, which means C option is the correct answer. ठीक है जी, clear है? Now let's move on to the next question. The next question is going to be a homework. So I want you guys to take the screenshot. You have 5 seconds to go. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I guess you guys have taken the screenshot. Done? Okay. So the next news which I have for you today, which I won't be discussing, but I will be discussing it in the next session, that is related to SEBI. So SEBI proposes mutual fund only portfolio management services. अब पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट सर्विसेज क्या होती है? ओनली म्यूचुअल फंड पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट सर्विसेज क्या होंगी, क्या कंडीशंस हैं, एवरीथिंग वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास. आई एम प्रीटी श्योर यू आर गोइंग टू एंजॉय दिस. So I hope each and every news which we have discussed is crystal clear. If you still have any doubt in the news, you may ask please. Otherwise, we will conclude the discussion. I have given you 3 questions as homework, so go for it. Do type the correct answers in the comment section. And if you are thinking to prepare for NABARD, guys, so on NABARD Grade A, we have come up with the lowest price or with the highest sale, and now this batch is available at 3699, which is the complete solution for your NABARD Grade A 2026 preparation. Go and grab the offer. It won't last much long. It will be available maybe today or maybe tomorrow midnight. That's it. Thank you so much for joining.